Welcome to the Awarenezzz podcast. In today's episode, we had the chance to speak with Alain Sola Vicente. Alain has been working in the sports performance world for decades, working at Real Madrid, where he had the chance to work with Cristiano Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, Raúl González, and some of the best soccer players in the history of the world. Alain went on and worked at Aspire, which is one of the biggest youth sport programs in the whole world, and then also in the Qatar National Team. Now, most recently, Alain went back to Spain to work with Real Madrid Castilla, which is the second team of Real Madrid. The interesting part about him is that he's a water expert. And what I mean by this is that he specialized his whole career to see what way water can be used to the treatment of injuries, to the prevention of injuries, and to the enhancement of overall performance, which for him go hand by hand, health and performance. So for a lot of you guys that are looking for ways to improve your performance, this episode definitely has that value. We talk about how water can be used and in what way it can be used to increase your performance, to make you a better athlete, and then how it can be used when you're recovering from an injury, and how it's one of the most important tools that you're probably not using. So if you're looking for a lot of aha moments, a lot of new ideas on how to become a better athlete, then this episode is definitely for you. Enjoy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 32nd episode of the Awareness podcast. Today we're here with our guest, Alain Sola Vicente. Thank you very much for being with us, and introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, thank you very much, you guys, and hello everybody there on the other side.
Amazing, Alain, amazing. So just to kind of like for us to get some context about where you're at right now, like a little bit about your trajectory. Tell us a little bit about what got you into sports performance and who is Alain as Alain Sola, like a little bit about your experience in the sports performance world.
Okay, Alain Sola is a guy, he's a crazy guy for performance, health, physiotherapy, water, and passionate for football, soccer. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm a physiotherapist. I first studied one degree in strength and conditioning, and then another one in physiotherapy. It's like one athletic trainer there, or strength and conditioning plus physiotherapy here in Spain.
Yeah.
My first experience in this high performance world was in Real Madrid in 2009. I was working there 4 years till January 2009 till August 2012. And I was working in the hydrotherapy area. I was in Real Madrid to try to develop one methodology using water to improve everything, to improve performance, to improve recovery of effort, and to improve the process of rehabilitation injuries. Okay. I was working there with the first team and with the second team during these 4 years, trying to use, as we would probably we will talk later, physical principles of water, pressure, depth, and everything, buoyancy, etc. And then after these 4 years, my boss, Walter Di Salvo, traveled to Doha, to Qatar, to try to develop there one methodology in a conditioning methodology. So he proposed me to go there to Qatar with him to create one methodology working in water and to work as an athletic trainer with different teams.
Okay.
So I said yes. I traveled there with my family, and I spent 4 years. We did the design of one amazing facility of water, everything, 1,500 square meters of water, everything. We designed and we built this facility, and I developed this methodology working in water with players since 12 years old till 19 years old. And I was working too as a strength and conditioning and as an athletic trainer with under 19, under 20, under 23 categories there in Doha. Finally, I finished my job there in Qatar, and I came back to Spain. So in Spain, I was working 2 years in good club, small club in second division. It's a club. The owner is Qatar, but it's here in Spain. It's Cultural and Deportiva Leonesa. I was working there a couple of years, and then I had experience in Real Sociedad, another La Liga team here in Spain. I was working 3 years as a head of health and performance there in Real Sociedad. Amazing experience, tough. I enjoy and I suffer 50-50 these 3 years. We got success, we got titles, and it was amazing experience.
Great.
And then finally, I came back to Madrid because I used to work with Raúl González. I don't know, the football player. No, he was there in Cosmos in USA and in La Liga. I was working with him as a player, and then when he started to be a coach, he asked me to join him to be his conditioning responsible, no? The head of performance. And I was working in Real Madrid in the second team with him, the head of performance, the last 4 years till this year. I finished this summer. And actually, as I told you guys before, I'm working as one advisor again for Aspire Academy for Qatar, and advisor in everything, in performance recovery effort and rehabilitation process and everything with the different clubs that Aspire has out of Qatar. So here in Spain, in Europe, they have some contacts in USA too. So I'm starting with them. I'm happy and really happy to be in this new project again. This is more or less my process.
A little bit of experience, just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm an old
You
man.
have to come to the US. You have to come to the US sometime to work with the teams, and then we can meet up, right?
Yeah, I would love it. I have some good friends there, and I think it's the future. So USA is on the top in everything, almost everything. Not in soccer, not in football, but they are in the way. So there are many opportunities there. They are doing amazing things, and it's a really, really good things to be down there.
Definitely, Alain, definitely. And I mean, it's just incredible the amount of experience that you have, not only in the field of physiotherapy, but then also being exposed to different teams, different age groups, right, with the professionals, but then also with the youth level. So I can imagine how that gives you a lot of perspective on how different people work. And that kind of relates now to the question that I wanted to ask. Of course, having all of these ideas and exposure gives you kind of like a lot of experience for you to define your philosophy. So I wanted to ask you about, how is your philosophy? What is your main philosophy when it comes to physiotherapy, to managing an athlete's performance and to managing an athlete's health?
As I told you, I'm not only physiotherapist, okay? I'm first strength and conditioning and then physiotherapy. So for me, movement is everything. So you know that in physiotherapy, we have many tools to work with. For me, the most important tool is our hands. Okay, we use too much, and for me, is the amazing hands. But we have a huge technology to be used with the players, with the athletes. Okay, but for me, the two most important things to be used with the athlete, injured players, is hands in physiotherapy and movement training. So I used to train through the movement. I start to move the player as soon as I can, and I continue the movement during the whole process of rehabilitation. For this reason, water is important for me, because water allows me to start as soon as I can to move the player. And movement allows us to step up progressively the work with our players, and is the basic for everything. Without this movement and training, I don't understand a proper rehabilitation process. So if I have to say, my key point, my main tool to be used is movement and training. When I say movement, I mean training.
Okay,
Why
okay.
do you think movement is so important? Because you always hear like about active recovery, getting the blood flow. What do you think about movement is so important?
Movement. Well, because movement is everything, and movement. And if I have to say which kind of movement, I would say functional movement. No, I mean, uh, our body it's a whole body. It's a muscles, it's bones, our mind. It's everything. We cannot work separated one part or another part, and everything has to move properly. So you have to move. You have to do curl of biceps. Yes. You have to do squat. Yes. You have to do hip thrust. Of course. You have to jump. You have to do plyometry. Yes, of course. But then you have to put together all these
Mm.
kinds of training, and movement, functional movement, is the tool who put together the different trainings. So with
Okay.
a movement, there is nothing. There is nothing.
I totally agree with you. And it's kind of counteractive because a lot of people may think about injury prevention, rehabilitation, physiotherapy as you're sitting in a bed and then somebody's doing a massage to you. But
No,
then like actually the like what you're saying that actually the most important thing is moving, because at the end of the day you don't want them to be in that bed, in that massage bed, the whole process. You want them to, at some point and as soon as possible, for them to go back to their sport, right?
sure, sure. And imagine that I used to say that I'm physiotherapist. I work with my hands, but I used to say that in one football club, for example, you remove 50% of the physiotherapy treatments, the result for sure will be the same or even better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for me, I think so. I think that there are many times that you are working with a player to try to adjust, to adapt this player, this athlete, to the different loads of the training. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and with one excessive treatment of physiotherapy, you avoid this adaptation to the training load.
Okay.
You
Because
know,
you're
so
taking the time that could have been used for the other training
no,
to
the
do
time,
physiotherapy.
the time, and the for example the muscle tone. You are doing one strength training or one, I don't know, different drills in the field. Okay, uh, one day before the game or 2 days before the game, you are doing for something. If that player after this kind of treatment spend 2 hours on a bed massage, this effect on the muscle disappear. So the
Mm.
adaptation that you try to do disappear. So for this reason, you have to be careful. You have to do physiotherapy, of course. You have to do it. Too much? No. You have to find this balance, And you talk about injury prevention or preventive work, preventive drills or preventive exercises. For me, prevention is to be adapted enough to the training load and to the competition load, to
I
the
love it.
competition demands. If you are adapted to the competition demands enough, you will be recover earlier, you will have less risk of injury, and your performance will be better.
I completely love that idea, and I haven't heard it that way, like so well put. But I think it's basically that, like injury prevention. Might Some people might think, oh, I'm landing in this leg,
In,
and
in
this
this
is
bosu,
I'm
yeah,
doing
this
injury prevention for my knee, right? But at the end of the day, what's gonna prevent the injury is you being adapted and you have receiving the stimuli that's gonna prepare you for that
is true.
game, right?
It's like this, and I think I really think this is a philosophy for me. Okay, but there are people who are scared to do this kind of trainings during the week. So I used to say, Camilo and Matt, if you want to fly during the weekend, at some time you have to fly during the week. Okay,
Yeah.
or not at the same level, and sometimes even you have to fly over the level of the weekend, because
Yeah.
if not, you won't be ready to perform properly.
Yeah, you cannot expect to fly if all you do in the week is just walking, right?
Yes, like this, exactly like this.
Perfect. And I mean, you've had a lot of experience, and I wanted to ask you, has this been the philosophy you've always had, or has this evolved over the years?
No, for sure, it's evolved during the years. I have seen I'm a lucky guy because I have been working with amazing professionals, no, like monsters of this, and I take notes of everyone, and I try to develop my own methodology during these years, and I'm quite comfortable now with my ideas. And in terms of conditioning training, there are some coaches that maybe their philosophy is not so conditioning philosophy and is more tactical or technical philosophy.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think that in our world now, in high performance, you are a good player, skillful, amazing in terms of tactical aspects, but if you don't push hard, if you are not able to push really hard, you won't get anything.
Definitely.
In 2009, when you came in to Madrid the first time, Ronaldo came in as well, or?
Yeah.
Or maybe
I was working with him these 4 years. I was working with him in the water. I was working with him in his house. An amazing guy, really clever, really intelligent. He was seeing me working for 1 year, and after 1 year, he told me, "Hey, Alain, I want you to be with me in my house. I want you help me to design my hydrotherapy area in my house." And I learned too much about this kind of players because he's a player who is always focused in his body, because his body is his tool to get goals. And okay, if you see him now, is 41, 42, and still scoring, and his mentality is like a killer. Always 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Definitely.
Good
So
guy.
like that it shows a lot, because I mean, of course, for some guys it will be okay, I go to the club and I get this treatment, right? But then if you acknowledge and you realize how this might benefit your body, and then take that initiative of going to the person and saying, I actually want this for myself, so I don't just depend on the team to give it to me, but I want to take the benefits from this, right?
Yeah, sure, like this.
I really liked it when you mentioned like his body is his tool, which is completely true. Like that's what he needs for his job to do, getting the goals, getting the titles. And also Erling Haaland, he posted like a day in his life, and he also like has his physiotherapist coming into his home, and then they work very like a lot on his hips, because like that's what he needs for his sprint speed, like being up in the air. So that's what I focus a lot about.
Yeah, and I think that's good. Like I'm just thinking, like if you think about a butcher that has a bad knife, and he's not able to cut the meat well, like that's the main thing he's gonna take care of. The same thing for an athlete. The body is that tool, so that's the main thing they should be taking care of, right?
Exactly. And in our days, actually, is even more, because maybe 20 years ago, one really skillful player can survive without working properly conditioning training, but actually it's impossible. It's really impossible. You have to be able to perform well 60 games during a season, these top players, okay? And it's impossible if you don't train properly, if you don't eat properly, if you don't sleep properly, if you don't take care of yourself properly. It means that you cannot eat one hamburger. No, of course not. There is time for everything, and they are young players, young people, and they have to enjoy, and they have to go out and dance and have a drink, okay? But everything has his proper time.
Definitely. And I think the point that you mentioned, because I think I hear this so much saying, oh, we don't see the level of skill we used to see 20 years ago. Oh, we don't see Maradonas anymore. We don't see this type of players anymore. But it's like there are players that have that level of skill. It's just that the level of skill is not enough anymore. You need to have that conditioning backing it up, right?
Yeah, I will put one example to you guys. I don't know when the people is going to listen this podcast.
In around a week. In around a week.
But then guys, you that are listening me, 1 week ago there was like the Clásico in Madrid, Real Madrid against Barcelona. Okay, we have in Barcelona one really skillful player, amazing, incredible. This Jamil Lamal. Okay,
Yeah.
This player yesterday couldn't perform properly because he has one pubic injury, pubic pain. Okay, so that means that you can be the best with quality player, but if you are not 100% in everything, you cannot compete against top teams. It's like this.
Best way
And
to put it.
if you are not fit, is the same that if you are injured.
Definitely. Like you're not making the best out of those abilities that you have.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. I really love the points that we touched in there. And something that I wanted to ask you now that we're talking more about like specific teams, specific players, professional teams, it's kind of like, how did you go about structuring and making sure that in a season that is full of games, that has a lot of volume, and as you mentioned, it constantly increases, how do you make sure and how do you structure the season in a way that you're always thinking on the health of the player, but then also always thinking and making sure that they get in the right preparation for the game, kind of like balancing those things out? How would you structure that?
It's difficult, but first of all, you have to think that health and performance is the same. So
go together. Okay.
As fitter you are, you will be with bigger level of health. So you have to be fit. We have different parts of the season: pre-season, season, and then if you want post-season. Okay. These top players plays about 50-60 games during the season. My point of view is I use the pre-season to get them ready to compete the first game only. There are people who think that pre-season is the moment to fill the tank. Okay, my opinion is that you can fill the tank in terms of strength, but in terms of performance, drill, and specific football, in my scenario, I use pre-season to be ready to compete the first game.
Just the first game.
Okay, I want them to be ready to compete properly the first game. Okay. In terms of strength, no. In terms of strength, I use this 5 weeks period in pre-season to divide in 3-4 blocks, depending, or maximal strength, power, etc. Because there are a few moments during the season that I can do this. Okay, during the season, you cannot work properly maximal strength or neuromuscular strength because they play so much, they train so much that this kind of training, it's difficult to manage during the season. So in pre-season, I used to do this. Then once I'm in season, there are two groups of players: the player who plays almost everything and the players who play only the last minutes of the games. Okay, so the players who play everything, you have to maintain the level during the season, only doing short trainings. It's really, really important, the tactical aspects for the coach, and it is really, really important to give them pills or of specific necessities. Okay, the necessities of one midfielder are not the same than one striker or central defender or winger. So this player who plays almost everything every minute, they have to receive small pills of their specific necessities. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
This is one thing, and another thing is the players who play only like as a substitute the last minutes, they have to work. For me, there is no another chance. They have to work after the game. They have to work +1 the day after the game. They have to work properly because there are the only 2 windows to try to get the level of the other players. So you have to push them hard, -4, -3, +1, these players, and try to keep them fit. And the other players, you have to keep the level with these small pills of specific necessities. Okay. In terms of recovery effort, for me is really, really, really important to manage all the strategies that you can manage to
Mhm.
recover the effort in terms of physiotherapy, massage, water, supplementation, nutrition, podologist, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So in that, because I think you mentioned a very important point that in that preseason you don't want them to be ready to play every game because they're not necessarily playing in that preseason.
No.
It's impossible to be completely prepared if you're not getting the same type of stimuli, right?
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
like preparing them in the way that you can. So in this case would be the strength training, the gym training, right? And then
Yeah.
just getting them ready for that first game. And
Yeah.
then the best way for them to prepare is to actually, like for the games, is to play more games, right?
Yeah.
And to be constantly in that type of scenario, right?
Yeah, but not only playing games, you have to give them strength pills and conditioning pills in terms of strength, VO2 max, etc., but
Yeah.
small pills, the pills that they need.
Okay, okay. And then you also mentioned, because a lot of the guys, a lot of people may think, and this is something that I also used to think, is like, not during the season, the more rested you are, the better, you know. But then, as you mentioned, like in if we think about it that way, for the people that are not playing, it would even be better because they will be more fresh. But then you actually want them to have the same level of stimuli, right? You
Yeah.
want to give them a good amount of load, no?
Yeah, they will never have the same level of the rest of the player, but sometimes you are gonna need these players to play 90 minutes. If you don't train them properly, they won't be ready to play.
I see.
So
And
it's
that's why you
easy.
often see players after the game that didn't play that much doing their sprints on the pitch after the
Yeah.
match.
Yeah.
For
And
this, for the reason.
I wanted to ask you about that, like, because you mentioned you want them to do something after the game or in the +1. How does that work look like for the guys that didn't necessarily play the day before?
It's difficult to manage this. You for sure you need to be one good professional. I used to say this is the art of training. So
Mm.
because training is an art, no. So you have to be able to be close enough to them and to be tough enough with them to make them follow you in this kind of trainings, because it's really awful finishing one game without playing 1 minute and then start running after the game, no. But in this training after the game, it's only a short training, maybe the high speed velocity, something like this. And for me, it's important. But if you have the possibility to work on in +1, maybe it's not so important, because
Okay.
I used to say, if you have a good opportunity to work in +1, imagine you play Sunday, +1 Monday, rest Tuesday. Okay, this Monday, my opinion is that you have to push them hard. Maybe
Hard.
you have to push them 8, 9, even 10 kilometers with high speed, with change of direction, braking, accelerating, duels, everything, because it's the only way to be ready to compete.
And it's a great opportunity because it's gonna be the farthest day from the Nets game, right?
Yeah,
So it is a very good opportunity to put some load. No, perfect.
sure.
I mean, Alain, we really got a good idea of like your philosophy in terms of how you approach the injury prevention and how like for you it's all goes together, right? For you to
Yeah,
perform well, you have to be healthy, and
yeah,
you being healthy allows you to perform well, right?
sure.
And I totally agree with that.
And Camilo,
What are you gonna
imagine
say?
that
Yeah.
there are many professional. Okay, you can have a huge staff with many people working for the team in the really big clubs. Okay,
Hmm.
and you have individualized very good. But most of the clubs in the world, they don't have a huge staff. So you have to develop one methodology able to get the best of every player in the different aspect. You have to create one methodology who attend preventive point of view, knee, ankle, hip, stretch, mobility, eccentric
Hmm.
work, speed, cardiovascular training, everything. You have to design a methodology to make your team fit in every aspect. Because
Hmm.
if you try to work individually with each one of your players, if you don't have enough staff, it will be impossible.
Definitely, definitely. I totally agree with you. And I think that's a great way to end that part of your philosophy. And I really want to make that transition to the water because it's something I definitely wanted to talk about. So to get started, how can an athlete, like just in a super broad sense, so we get an idea and the people watching can get an idea, how can an athlete benefit from water?
First of all, because if you don't drink water, you will die. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's true, because we are water, no? 75% of our body is water, and if something happened to water, something will happen to us, no? This vibration, this idea of the water and vibration. But talking about performance, water will allow us to do a lot of things. So when I started to work in water, I realized that we have physical and mechanical aspects of water, as a temperature, as a pressure, time, and intensity of training. These four aspects are really important for me. I realized that water can help us during the whole process of rehabilitation, and during the whole process or the whole time of training, during the whole season. Okay. I used to say, guys, that water always has been used, but water is not used always. I don't know if you feel the difference. No, sometimes sometimes I feel that, do you use water? Yes, of course. When? Okay, in the first stage of rehabilitation process. And then no. For me, it's a mistake. Are you using water your healthy players? No. Yes, how? Okay, it's free, as they want. It's a mistake. So you have to program everything, and you have to take advantage of the waters is offering you.
So if I understand correctly, it's like, you don't want to be, of course, you don't want to have the player in the water all the time because they play on the field, but you want to always have it as a resource and plan accordingly to it, to always implement it, of course, in the specific dose that might be needed, but to always be of a support and a tool that the player is using. Yeah.
Sure. I've been working. Yeah. Tell me, Matt.
Oh no, you go. You do.
I've been working 100% of my day, of my time in water. Of course, I use water too much, but when I've been working as a strength and conditioning or physiotherapist outside of the water, almost 90% of the days I use water with injured players and with healthy players, because you can do in water rehabilitation, but you can do in water massage and treatment. You can use underwater jets, massage. You can train with really, really, really high intensity, reducing the risk of injury because the load is reduced in water. So, okay, you can use cold, you can use thermal temperature, you can use hot, but of course it's not the same being 20 minutes or 25 minutes in water and 38 degrees than to be only 5 minutes. So the result for your muscle tone is totally different. And if you stay 45 minutes in hot water one evening and the next morning you are doing speed or duels, the risk of injury increases too much. It's easy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because the tone of your muscles decrease too much. Then you don't have the same contractibility to be ready to speed, and your tactical aspects to in basketball or even in football, it's different if you work in hot water during match time.
So the muscles are more relaxed after
Sure.
Super interesting, man. And I wanted to ask you, now that we got an idea of how somebody might benefit from working with water, like what are the use cases in which you use water? Because I mean, people might be, like you mentioned, that you might use it with somebody that's injured, but also with somebody that's completely healthy.
Yeah.
So what are those use cases? In what scenarios do you use water?
I use water always. So you tell me when, and I will tell you. I used to say always, when the people ask you, is it possible to do, you have to ask to answer yes. How many time do I have to work? 5 minutes. I will do something in 5 minutes. Don't worry. I will improve your level. It will be good for you. So in terms of injury, as soon as I can put the player in the water. Imagine it's a surgery. Okay, you have to be the surgery, the scar has to be good, the stitches may be removed or something like that. But as soon as I can to put him inside the water, I start working in water, non-weight bearing, moving easily in warm or fresh water to avoid swelling or inflammation, okay? And step by step, looking for partial weight bearing, increasing the speed, increasing the level of the training, the intensity. So I have developed like 3 but 4 phases to work with the injury, with the different injuries in the water, in acute phase, in intermediate phase, and final phase, with different intensities and times and drills and exercises different for each one of the phases. But it's common sense, because, okay, imagine one injury, okay, pubic injury, after one surgery, adductor muscles or whatever, you are in one, in the second month, third month, we can say in the middle of the rehabilitation process, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that in the field you can work with high intensity and much time? No. But you can work in water, sessions, long session with medium and high intensity? Yes, of course. What you are getting with this training in water, you are getting the player prepared, ready to the next step. And the next step will be in the field, high intensity drills, pushing. So water is always the previous step for what you will do outside of the water.
Okay, so if I understand, in the work with water, you want to be doing what you will do outside of the water in the net phase.
Easy. If you think in this way, it's easy to work.
And just combines with your philosophy, because you mentioned like movement for you is everything. So it just speeds up the process of getting to the movement.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Exactly. And the effect is amazing. Imagine, guys, that you have one, I don't know, hamstring tear, okay, grade 3, grade 2, okay, and you are looking for a good healing process, okay. What do you need for this healing process? You need smooth contractions to align the fibers, and you need food and oxygen for your muscles. What do you think? How can you get this? Staying seated in one chair or moving your arms, or doing one aerobic, low, medium intensity for 30, 40 minutes, okay? For me, the second option, because with this gentle aerobic training, you are doing smooth contraction and movements of the muscle, okay? And you are putting oxygen and food directly in the muscle with this kind of training. So you are working more time, the effect will be better and higher.
Definitely. It's just like preparing whatever is injured, or just preparing yourself for the next phase. And that's something that I wanted to do, kind of like to put a scenario for you and then kind of see how would you go about it. So and this is kind of applies for me, because as I told you before, I'm gonna get a knee surgery as well. But let's say I just come out of a ACL injury, right? And I just got the surgery. How does the programming look like, in the sense of how would you implement the water into it, and how would you progress from it?
Okay, let's see. As I told you before, I have three different phases: okay, acute phase, intermediate phase, final phase. Okay. In the intermediate phase is the phase that I can work more time with more intensity. So the intermediate phase I divide in 2, functional and specific phase. So finally, I have like 4 moments. Initial phase, functional, specific phase, and return to play.
Yeah.
Okay. Then in the first phase, initial phase, my target is to reduce the swelling, the effects of the injury, okay, the inflammation, the injury, the knee, in case of ACL, the knee is hot, is with inflammation, the knee cannot move properly. So I will use really low intensity training, non-weight bearing or partial weight bearing with low or medium intensity, and the water will be warm, fresh, or cold, because I put in hot water, the knee will increase the swelling or the inflammation, okay? So, and I go step by step during this phase. In the intermediate phase, The first one is functional phase and specific. In functional phase, I take the different categories of conditioning. So VO2 max, speed, strength, stability, coordination, mobility. So the normal qualities that every player, every athlete needs. Okay, for this reason, I call this phase functional phase. And I work on that phase in the water. The water will be warm, sometimes will be hot water. The intensity will be in the functional phase medium, high intensity. At the time of the sessions will be long sessions, maybe 45, 60, 70 minutes in the water, working in water. Okay. Once I get this, I go directly to the specific phase. In this specific phase, I already think in which kind of athlete I am working with. So it's a tennis player, it's a football player, it's a basketball player. If I work with one football player, it's a central defender, midfielder, winger, goalkeeper, whatever, and I start working exactly with his specific position in the field. I take his data, his previous data before the injury, okay, and I try to put him to the same level in terms of conditioning, working in water.
Oh, okay.
Partial weight bearing, maybe hip level, maybe fifth level of water. Start doing jumping, pushing, pulling. Okay, super high intensity with not too long sessions, maybe 20, 30 minute sessions maximum, because remember that this athlete is working too in the field and with another professionals. Okay, so my sessions cannot be.
So at this point, they're also doing work outside of the water as well.
Yeah, and with good intensity. Okay, so my sessions at this point has to be really high intensity sessions, but not too long sessions.
So kind of like providing the intensity that they're gonna have in the field, but that they're not allowed to do out, like that they're gonna have in the field once they're healthy, but that they're not allowed to have right now outside of the water, because I mean they're just going through the recovery process, right?
Sure, like this. And at this point, I have to say that you have to be in contact with the rest of professionals, because imagine at this point in a specific phase for me in water, there will be like a medium intensity in the field. So at this moment, I have to talk with the strength and conditioning of my team, and I have to ask him, what do you need of this player? Yeah. How can I help? How can I help you with this player now at this moment, to make for you easier your work when the player be with you in a high intensity level? Okay. And then finally, I told you the last phase is return to play. But this return to play, I mean return to play in the field, in the pitch, but in water, it won't be return to play. It is recovery effort. Okay. At this point, I have done everything with super high intensity in water. So I don't have any other thing to do in water in terms of conditioning. But what am I doing at this point in water? Helping the strength and conditioning to have a faster recovery in water. So
I see.
I use the water to do underwater jets, massage, contrast, cold water immersion, etc., to help the player and the coach to work tougher and stronger in the field.
So all the way before, it was using water to condition that athlete, but now in this last phase, they're able to condition themselves outside of, like, in the field. So what you're doing is recovering the athlete.
Sure. Okay. And you asked me more specifically about ACL, for example, ACL. like tips. I can tell you with ACL, the third week after surgery, I start running in water with a chest level. After 3 weeks. After 1 month, I am able to do sessions, 45-minute sessions, full endurance in non-weight bearing. After 5 weeks, I start plyometry with 2 legs and single leg, jumping, drop jumps from outside of the water to water, etc. After 6-8 weeks, I start to do contact drills, jumping specific drills inside the water, heading, etc. After 12 weeks in ACL, super maximal high intensity. And after 16 weeks for me, I finish and I only do recovery, for example. These are tips that I use with ACL.
Okay.
And you also mentioned like the water level which they're training at, for example, chest level, then like the impact is lower, of course.
Yeah, this is a really, really easy way to control your training, because imagine, Matt,
you can lower it.
If you are hip level, you are loading only 50% of your body. If you are chest level, you are loading only 30% of your body. You know, if you are hip level, you are loading about 70% of your body.
Yeah.
So using the water in this way, you're able to control perfectly the progression of the methodology of rehabilitation.
Oh, so I imagine like as the time goes, you're lowering that depth of the water, right?
Yeah. If you are neck, you are only 10%. If you are 100 kilos, if you are working neck level, you are loading only 10 kilos.
Are the water tanks big enough for Thibaut Courtois?
Yeah, sorry.
Are the water tanks big enough for Thibaut Courtois?
Yeah. Thibaut, he loves water, but not too much. Not too much.
Yeah, but he's a tall guy, so everything must be like high intensity for him.
Yeah, no, it's difficult to put him neck water.
Yeah, right. No, I think that's amazing, and I wanted to talk about specific situation that you had. I was hearing that podcast that you did before, and you had this story about this player from the Qatar national team that has had a stress fracture, and how he benefited from water treatment. So, just wanted to tell that story because I think it's super important. What were like the specific things that you guys did with him?
Okay, this is the nice part of our job. And our job has nice and awful parts, okay, moments. But okay, sometimes wonderful things happen, and that was one of these wonderful things. No, I used to work, as I told you, in Doha, in Qatar, and we had this ASEAN qualification with under 20 category, under 20 team, and it was the first time for Qatar to compete in this competition, and it was a really big challenge. And our best player, that's Akram Afif, got injured. This Akram Afif is still playing. The other day, Qatar got the qualification for World Cup there in US, and he was the best. So he's the best player still, no? Years later. So at this moment, he was like a 19-year-old, and he got injured with one tibial stress fracture. Okay. The doctors told us that he had to be like 6 weeks with a partial load, with a not too much intensity, etc. So they told us Akram won't be able to compete in the ASEAN Cup qualification. But okay, we thought carefully and we said, okay, if we don't have this guy, we don't have nothing. Also, we have good players, but this is our Messi, so we have to fight for this guy. And we started working with him, and the main work during the first 4 weeks was water. So every day during 4 weeks, we work daily sessions in water, 60, 90 minutes in water, different temperatures, different depths, different intensities, but working too much in water. Of course, some training in the gym, of course, some other physiotherapy treatment, of course. But the mainly work was what? After 4 weeks, this bone tear was reduced from level 3 to level 1, okay, grade 3 to grade 1. And after 4 weeks, we had only 1 week to do return to play work in the field, and after the games started. No? So we were first 4 weeks in the water, and then only 1 week in the field to do specific rehabilitation drills in the field. And then finally, he started to play all the games, not the 90 minutes, but maybe the first game, only 20 minutes, the second game, 40 minutes, the third game, 45 minutes, okay. Always being so important for our team, no?
Yeah.
We got the final he won. He started in the bench, okay, but after 45 minutes, 0-0 in the minute 51, we had a corner, okay, for us, and the coach said, "Stop, Akran, come on, go inside." And the first ball he touched, he scored. Heading,
Oh,
he
that's
scored.
amazing.
Yeah, he scored goal, and we won 1-0 the final against Iraq. So it was amazing. Qatar was a party, amazing. Everything was fine. I don't know. Maybe if Akran get injured in this game, maybe actually I'm in jail, or I don't know what happened. But at this time we won the tournament. It was the first time. After that time, Qatar was again champion in Asian Cup, under 23 twice in the maximum category in Asian Cup.
Yeah.
So they actually has qualified for the World Cup. So it was amazing. And the really good thing was that was the first time that we worked with this kind of injuries, tibial stress fracture. But after that one, we work more times with different players with the
Yeah.
same protocol, and always the result was the same.
Was the same.
Perfect. So I think that we changed the way of working with this injury, and that showed me that not everything is written. Okay, you can do things.
Yeah, like
Things
you
has to be
cannot,
done.
like from there you set the standard on how to treat these injuries in some way, right?
Yeah.
And what were the specific things that, I mean, considering the knowledge that you have and considering what happens when a stress fracture occurs, what were the main things that the water did to benefit this player and to heal that injury?
Yeah, it's only one thing. So if you have one stress fracture, proper load is perfect to recover bone density. Okay, but if you load too much, the effect is wrong. Okay, so which is the perfect loading? We didn't know, but we start to loading neck level, chest level, hip level, step by step. Everything is fine. How do you feel? Do you have pain? No, I'm fine, coach. Okay, keep going. One day, another day, another day, another day. So I think that we put on him the perfect level of stress on his bone, on his fracture, to produces bone density.
Yeah, because I mean, if you see strength training and weight bearing training is gonna increase the bone mineral density. Now is when you have a stress fracture, is you have to be careful on the level of load that you did, and then water allows you to like have a little bit more gap in there, right?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. No, I really love it, man. And I think we touched so many different points and so many different things. And kind of like to end this kind of like water point, I just wanted to, I mean, you mentioned a lot of things that people can do, but let's say there's an athlete, a young guy that's playing at the youth level, right? They don't necessarily have the biggest tools or the biggest equipment in their team, right? They're playing in the youth academy. What can they do today to implement, like how can they implement water into their routine to start benefiting their performance?
This is a tricky question. You are putting me on this, okay, but I have a good answer.
Okay.
You mentioned these athletes, I don't know, 14, 15-year-old, 13. Okay. What happened at this stage? What happened at these ages? Okay. You have this severe disease, Osgood-Schlatter disease, okay, growing injuries because of they are growing too much. Their bones are long, but their muscles are not strong enough. Okay. In Qatar, what we did in Qatar, with players on these ages, okay, we put twice per week training high intensity in water. Why? Because this kind of training allowed us to improve their performance, mostly in cardiovascular point of view, but avoid one fracture injury, pubic injury, knee injury, heel injury, because of the sensitive moment of his age. Okay. And this is perfect. So water allows you to continue improving your performance, reducing the risk of training.
Oh man, I wish I knew you before, like when I was like 15 or something, so I didn't get injured. Yeah, so like just considering the fact that they're very prone to this type of growing injuries or this type of things that happen at the developmental age,
Yeah,
using the water to still develop their cardiovascular ability
yeah,
without inducing more stress or more impact that might cause those injuries that we were talking about.
perfect. Exactly like this.
Okay, okay. No, man, I love it, man. I really got so much value from this podcast and just so actionable, like of specific things that anybody watching can do and that I'm definitely going to do when I get that surgery, man. And I'm gonna test you and I'm gonna ask for any feedback that you may have.
Whatever
So
you want.
I think it was amazing. I really got a lot of value from it, and I really appreciate you taking the time for just providing your experience, providing your knowledge, and just being so kind of sharing all of that with us. So I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Camilo, knowledge has to be shared.
Love it,
It's
love it.
like this. It's like this. Um,
Perfect.
my last thought, my last reflection for you is only to tell you, be water, my friend.
The water. Okay, okay, perfect. I'll keep that in mind. I'll probably put it as my phone wallpaper. And I mean, Matze, you mind you may have something to say, but after that we can go to the rapid fire questions just to wrap it up.
No, like I
Okay,
can just say, like
whatever.
was very valuable. Like I really enjoyed the talk and so much insight about like the professional level and like of course I knew about some water treatment, but like getting all the specific information, it's great. So I
Thank
really
you,
like
guys.
Oh,
Thank you,
perfect.
guys.
Alain, let's do some rapid fire questions. Yeah,
Let's go.
gonna get spicy. Ice or heat for a fresh muscle injury?
I sure.
Ice or heat for a
Ah,
fresh muscle injury?
for me, ice.
Ice. Just because of the contractile thing that you were talking about before.
The first stage, ice.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
And what do you think about foam rolling? Essential or optional?
Optional.
What should an athlete be doing in the half time to maximize performance for the second half?
Listening his coach, and then a really, really fast warming up. If you want a couple of minutes, enough.
And how does that warm up look like? How would that warm up look like?
Like speed movements and like a drill. Like it's more. Sometimes it's more mental than other thing.
Like the work has already been done, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
The most common mistake athletes do when recovering from an injury.
Lack of movement.
Lack of movement. And what do you think? Like now that you mentioned that, because part of my main mistakes as well, now that I think about it, was once you get to a point where you start feeling better, you feel like you can do everything, right? So you just start like, oh, I actually don't feel much pain, so I'm just gonna go and work and train if I was completely fine. Like, what do
Yeah.
you think about that stage? Because I honestly think it's so dangerous. I mean, at least it has been for me, because I just get so excited that I feel better that I just overtrain more than I should have.
If you get injured again, it's not your fault. It's your coach's fault. So the steps has to be small enough to put you in a good level of performance and to make you comfortable with these different intensities.
Mm,
So if I'm working with one athlete and he tells me, okay, I think I'm ready, I can fly now. I
mm.
have to put him on the floor and to say, no, you're not ready to fly because you still don't do this, and you have to do it before joining the team or before him being ready to perform 100%.
So there have to be like the specific milestones that we have to reach, and not until we check them. Even though you
Yeah,
feel good, like if you haven't done it, like you're not in the right spot, you're not prepared enough to play, right?
sure.
Okay, okay. And I mean, we talked about specific injuries and everything, but hamstring tears is probably one of the biggest ones in soccer, right? So what can an athlete that's very likely to get injured in the hamstring do to his routine or implementing his routine to prevent these injuries? Not only in the water, but like in general, like things that he can start doing.
Good level of mobility, of range of motion, good level of eccentric strength in the full range of motion of his muscles,
Mm-hmm.
and speed drills.
Okay. Okay, I see. Perfect.
What should every athlete do after a game?
Enjoy victory.
Enjoy victory.
And if you lose,
Work harder.
keep pushing. Now, okay, after the game, hydration, food, supplementation, some gentle treatment, physiotherapy treatment, not too deep because maybe you're injured and some treatments can be worse than benefit. Okay. And try to have a good sleep. If you don't have a good sleep that night, because sometimes it's difficult, you have to work in water the day after the game because water will help you to have a good nap and recover the lack of sleep that you had after the training, after the game.
oh really?
Yeah.
Good for everything.
And why is water good to give you a good, like, to prepare you for a good nap?
You get
Yeah, you
tired.
tell. How many times have you been in the beach playing with your friends for a couple of hours and then you are really, really hungry and tired and sleepy? And
Yeah.
then you have a good lunch and a really, really good nap. This is recovery of the effort.
Yeah. I mean,
And you mentioned, oh, do you have something, Camilo?
no, you can go, bro.
And then you mentioned like the supplements. Well, if you could give every athlete like 3 supplements they should take, what would it be?
After the game,
Yeah.
creatine,
Mm-hmm.
protein, and maybe for me, a good diet, good food.
I knew you were gonna say something like that. You don't look like the type
Because
of guy that like tries to put too many
you
things.
know, I think that supplementation is exactly this, supplementation. First, you need to be really, really good at having your lunch and your diet and everything. And then you have to supplement with something. Yes, of course. Before the game with something. Yes, of course. Caffeine. Yes. There are different supplements for taking previous before the game. But after the game, for me, okay, protein and creatine is more than enough.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean, I think that point on a good diet is so important because I mean, if everything you do is eat pizza, no matter how much magnesium you drink, like it's not gonna do anything to you, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. And guys, I'm in Spain, so in Spain we have amazing food. So
Oh yeah.
it was a sin.
But I think in the fitness niche, like the supplements getting overcomplicated so much. Like take this omega-3 stuff, and like it's crazy. Like people like have like a table full of 10 products. You can
Yeah,
just
and why not? Yes, you can have them, okay, but there are not many supplements with scientific evidence to be used like a religion. Okay, maybe protein and creatine are the best, and you are telling me omega-3. You have a good fish, you have omega-3. You have vegetables, you have omega-3. Okay, of course, I'm not telling you that I never recommend this kind of supplements, no,
Mhm.
because sometimes there are people with a really low levels of omega-3. You have to supplement, okay, but I'm talking about healthy players, okay.
Yeah.
And this is what I think, guys. Okay.
Definitely, and I totally agree with you, man. And Alain, you've provided us with so much value, man. But if you were to give a piece of advice to all young athletes listening to this podcast, what would it be?
Only one word: passion.
Mm.
Passion moves the world. So passion will be the tool for you to get whatever you want to get. So if you don't have passion for what you are doing, forget about getting any success.
So passion,
Passion.
love it, Alain. I think it's a great way to finish it off, man. And as I told you before, I really appreciate you taking the time, and I really enjoyed this one. And just looking forward to talking again, right? I think there's so many
Yeah.
things I would like to talk about. So Yeah,
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, and just looking forward for the next one, man.
For me, it was a really, really pleasure to be here with you guys, and I hope it will be more times to
Yeah,
talk to you.
pleasure's ours. Yeah.
It was great, Alain. I'm gonna talk to my coach and ask if they can do like some crowdfunding for a pool. that we can cover.
Call me, I'm here. I can travel there. I can go there.
Yeah,
and do
right.
things.
Yeah, when you come
Sure.
and do the business travel, you can stop by
Yeah.
and like plan all the pool and everything.
Yeah, you never know. Hey, you have the World Cup next year. Maybe we can do something there.
Definitely. No, Alain, it's been a pleasure, man. Really appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
I really
Have a
enjoyed the
good
time.
day. Have a good life.